Good morning, footies, and welcome along to your Tuesday Club edition of Foot and Review, powered by Foot Coaching. Unbelievably, we're up to episode number 664. No idea how that's happened, but welcome all the same. As normal, I am joined by my very good friend and fellow foot, and well, we call him enthusiast. We all kind of enthusiastic at times. We've got quite a bit to delve into, but firstly, Shaq, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday morning?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you very much. It's been a fun weekend. It's been back into into the EAFC grind, and yeah, looking forward to kicking the ball around for the next 45 minutes or so.
Outstanding, outstanding. How's your week been since we last chatted on the show? How's your week in foot been? Have you had successful rivals? Any decent pulls? Any champs?
I did champs. I sped run champs and ended up with 7 wins. I literally played champs in 3 hours, 2 hours. Like just ran through it, and because I was like, I think I played a couple of games of the cup. I played the cup pretty quickly, and then went to the league, and then I was getting smashed in the league. I thought I'm not gonna go play the league anymore, so I just went to the to champs and just smashed it through in 2 hours. And yeah, so I probably could have got eight, maybe if I was concentrating, maybe nine. But who cares? 2 hours champs. With the rewards don't really matter. They don't really.
Yeah,
You don't never. I've never got anything good in champs, so it doesn't really matter.
absolutely. I mean, we'll go on to talk about rewards and packs and etc. But it's good that you've had a decent week. Mine's been a lot more chill. I've had no time for champs. Obviously, as we know, that I've got a baby on the way, so we've had our 32-week scans and doctor's appointments and consultants and everything. So it's been a bit more reduced. Rivals, I've not even managed to do all my rivals yet, which is unheard of for me. So much to do, which, like I say, we'll come on to talk about. But how do you feel about Foot Fantasy just now? Because obviously we've kind of had the lull after the Team of the Year grind. What's your feeling on the current team and obviously some of the content that's come along with it? Without we'll not touch on objectives just now.
Um, from a player perspective, I think some of the players are quite interesting. I think the grassroots grade was pretty good in the sense that they had full cam. These ones don't really have full cam. The fantasy FC cards don't really have full cam. And also, this is what I really, it's a love hate relationship with this particular promo, because if you look back to last year, you think about those burner cards, those roll for cards, the cards that really engaged a lot of people. But that was a month or so later, or a couple of weeks later. So I'm sure there'll be some sleeper cards in here that'll be really good in like 3 weeks' time. But the problem is they already have that upgrade price built into it, so it makes it really hard. For example, you see a human son. Yep, sure. You stop at the range, you should be expensive, but 5.6 million when you can get an Andre Team of the Year was probably arguably one of the best bang for value cards for just a million more. There's a whole heap of things. And the other problem is, if any of these cards you spend a whole chunk on buying a card for say 2 million coins, and they have a bad game, they don't come on, or they have a yellow card, or I don't even know the details, but there's some of them have, you get a card and you get like, you don't get the upgrade, they just go crashing down, and it's just too much of a risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the requirements are a bit mental. Like I was lucky enough. Well, I say lucky enough. My pack weight was terrible. I bought one of the packs and got Cecido, which I was, he was one actually I really wanted. Obviously, I can't buy, so I was happy to have him. But then he's already denied an upgrade because a centre defensive midfielder who's quite a combative CDM can't get booked in 4 games. And I'm like, that's a crazy, crazy requirement to get an extra play style and either skill move or weak foot upgrade. I think EA have kind of missed the brief on that a little bit, because I'm not saying give them easy wins, but something like that for CDMs or even any sort of defenders. I think you are stretching your luck if you're expecting these type of players not to get booked. But what do you think about the SBCs coming? We've obviously had the road to the finals. I think it was Boniface and Zagrova both coming in at 139k, because I think they were kind of linked to SBC where you get to pick. Is that good value? Are these cards? They're obviously 88 rated just now. They've got potential to go up. Is this something that sort of tweaks your interest, or do you think that maybe the pick's not great or the price isn't great? How do you feel on them?
I think Boniface they both look interesting. And Boniface, I think I'm just remembering Boniface from last year. The team of the season Boniface card was really good fun last year to use for a short period of time. So, but the only thing that really gets my goat is, as soon as I saw FC Fantasy Player Pick, I just went into overdrive thinking, oh my God, there's a player pick that I can get any FC fantasy card. And then looked at the detail and realized it's only for these two. And that kind of annoyed me, but the rest of it was okay.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I thought, oh, that's in yesteryears, it's always been a Wednesday where there's been an SBC for like a guaranteed promo cards when you could do it. So I thought, oh, here we go. EA are kind of being really, really nice. Um, Again, I was slightly disappointed, and some of it comes down to my own pack luck from Team of the Year because I've got no interest in attackers. My attack's pretty much set right through to Team of the Season now, I think. So
Yeah.
potentially a left wing, but I just think, yeah, I think with the upgrades, these will be good. Boniface last year was so good because Crossing was so OP, whereas Crossing's not quite the same in
Yeah.
25. So I don't, unless you've kind of completely, won over the Crossing side of the game, probably not as effective. But it could still be really fun. He's got Power Shot Plus and is it Ping Pass he's got as well. So that's quite nice to have as well. So the theme of the pod today that we want to talk about is feast or famine, Shaq. This it's for a variety of reasons, but firstly, feast or famine. So we've got got good objectives, but again, pack weight seems to be absolutely horrific. So first thing I kind of wanted to talk about is we've obviously got the league, the cup, everything like that, which give you nice packs back. Not seeing any flares really coming from them. I am getting high rated fodder in terms of standard golds. But would you not look at the rewards that we get for grinding out this and think, surely, even if you get, a blue and silver flare or whatever they are, but some of the low rated ones, like, what's your take on this just now?
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot happening, and I I don't really. I think correspondingly, as we discussed, the back weight is not really as high as it should be. I don't think I've seen a blue flare yet. If I'm not, oh, actually, I did see it once, and I backed that Sankit guy. The Sam, yeah,
Sounds, yeah, the Syria, the La Liga
La
cam
Liga guy.
striker, whatever. Yeah,
Well, the cool thing is, apparently, he gets all his upgrades because he scored like a gazillion goals in the team. Look, this is how much attention I've been paying to these cards that I think he gets his full upgrade because of what the team did over the weekend. But that's the only card that I've seen through all this fun stuff. I really haven't seen many cards popping up, and there's a lot of things happening, but none of them seem to be something that you really want to grind and just get into your club. So it's a funny little situation to be in, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm trying to get engaged. I'm trying to keep up with everything, but it's there's a lot going on, isn't there?
yeah, absolutely. And that kind of takes us on nicely to all the objectives that we've got. We've obviously got the SP objectives for play. I think it's probably is it up to 50 matches or 60 matches in rivals or squad battles and champs where you can get your season pass points, which is really good in a way because people, I think I've just hit level 20 potentially, so still a bit of a way to go. So that is nice, but it's obviously a lot of games to be playing. But as the guys have mentioned on Friday, there's other objectives going. So we've got like the fantasy league. I think is it the fantasy? I always get confused between the two. Fantasy league's the one where you can have, is it 12 games or 14 games, and then it
12.
resets after 12 games, and then it resets after 4 days, and then you've got the
Correct.
fantasy cup as well, which is only out for a short time. It ends if you're listening to this live. It ends today. For those of you who listen to this, probably Wednesday morning. When it goes out on most of the platforms, it'll have already ended. So, what's your thoughts on that? They're cramming a lot in, and like, don't get me wrong, the rewards are amazing, and for those of you that are good enough to grind for the Mycon or the Odegaard, then fair play. But I personally feel it adds so much pressure. I rushed through the league once, trying to get everything done, hampered myself. I think I ended up only 5 wins out of the 14 or out of the 12 or something like that. Wasn't great. I think I'm at the high end of the ELO though because I've been pretty solid in the rest of the friendly, so I'm obviously matching decent players. But I think it's a lot to try and get people to cram into a short space of time.
I think I made the cardinal error of trying to. I'll talk about everything else, but I'll talk about my personal experience. I made the biggest mistake of going, I think 10-0, or no, actually I lost 10-1 in the cup straight away. I went 10-1. I was like, yep, great, I'm pretty decent, and straight away went to the league, and then came up against three absolute beasts in league. Like, I didn't lose 2-3 nil. I lost, I think, 6-7 nil. Oh, 6-7. I scored a couple of goals just as a consolation, but still I lost heavily. And then I thought to myself, oh, this is a bit hard. And there's a lot going on with regards to all the pressure that there is to actually get into into the league and get those wins done, so you can try and get those rewards. I think Macon's completely out of my reach. I will not be able to get Macon. I don't think I'm even halfway good enough to get Macon. But the one thing that really I have a bee in my bonnet is the fact that we have these kind of cards that are in friendlies. And I know I'm all for giving special content. Great, don't get me wrong, it's good. But I wish that they gave these kind of special things in champs, because those people deserve it. Like, if you get, like, I don't know if you remember last year we had the McAllister card that came in champs. That was a special version of McAllister. I think there was an Enzo as well, if I'm not mistaken. We obviously had that red Fakir. Those ones are cool. Like, it's like, oh, it's like a badge of honor. But to do it in a friendly mode just feels weird to me. But again, I think EA is trying to do something here, trying to find whether there's an option to have like a competition during the week, which is like a substitute for champs during the week. That could be what they're trying to do, but I think they've crammed everything together where it's really hard to appreciate what they're trying to achieve when there's so much going on. There's a whole lot of pressure as well to try and complete these things. And that's the part that I'm not really liking at this point in time.
So, Shaq, how do you really feel about them having cards like Micon locked behind 30 wins from 36 games? Do you like that idea, or do you think actually it's a good idea, sort of giving people a big target to hit, but maybe just keeping it 30 wins in friendlies general? Or do you like the fact it's 30 out of 36 and only the elite level players are going to have this?
I think in friendlies it's a lot of pressure because luckily there's other rewards available. It kind of softens the blow a little bit, but I think it's a hefty ask. And I think if you're looking on socials right now, you'll see a lot of people are actually paying services to try and get this done, which just shows how hard it actually is to get this done. I don't really. I think it's a badge of honor for sure. It's really a badge of honor. I think if someone actually gets this rare Mycon card, good on them. But if you go down the route of paying some professionals to play for you or whoever they are, I mean, is that fullback really that is that worth that much? Is that much of a flex if you're going to lose the game anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know this is a topic that you feel you've got your own views on. How do you feel like? I mean, we're obviously not going to name these names, and it's not something that I don't think it's the path that we want to overly endorse. But I've seen it on my social feeds. People are sort of charging sort of £70 upwards to say we'll get this done. Like, there's so many red flags that appear to me. Firstly, it is against the T's and C's anyway. So
Yep.
obviously, if EA find out, they could ban you or whatever. So that's obviously the first one. But then you've got a £70 plus for a 92 rated card. Yes, he could go up. Inter Milan, I think he's associated to, aren't exactly phenomenal. Like they may get a few points. I doubt they'll get all of them. You're giving your account details to somebody else, so you're obviously risking your account as well. Like there just seems to be so many things. Oh, and obviously 70 quid for a player that theoretically there's almost as good alternatives out there already that could be obsolete in a few weeks. Like there's so many alarm bells ringing to me when I see that.
Yeah, there's a whole heap of alarm bells, and I think one of the clear distinctions I really want to make is if someone is actually doing this service and they're running it and they are hustling, whatever, all power to you. Well done, you're spending. That's fine. But anyone actually paying £75 to get a Mycon card, I just can't understand why. What is? It's not. It's not a card that you cannot do without. It's not like a Team of the Year Mbappe or Team of the Season Mbappe or R9. It's a fullback for. But this is where the community is right now. I think this is one of the frustration as well because it ruins it for everyone else as well because everyone else is then playing against. Obviously, if someone's offering the service, they might be good at the game, and you're going to try to come up against these people who are being paid to actually get the card for someone else, and it just spoils the experience for a majority of people. So I'm not really in favor of people paying for it. For the people that are doing it, look, it is what it is. It's a dog eat dog world. So I come understand they're just trying to make some money on the side. It is what it is. But the people paying, those are the people that I take umbrage with.
It's it's pretty mental to me. Like people, these guys must be unreal. Like I know in our Discord, I think it might be just in our host channel, but I know that John's kind of saying there's no chance these are going to be pro players because they wouldn't spend the time grinding this. But like in my head, you've got to be an like elite level, like higher than elite level, to kind of guarantee the fact that you can get 30 out of 36 wins in this. Like good players will struggle. You know, if you've got a mic on, it either means you've obviously used these services, or you are like an exceptionally good player, or you've kind of sussed out the ELO and you've gone into other friendly modes and tanked it there so you can get whatever. Like I get that there's ways around it, and I think there is a bug going around. Again, we'll not highlight that, but there is seems to be a few bugs going around that you can do it. How accurate that is, I don't know. However, like it's very confident people that can kind of guarantee that they're going to get this. I think.
Yes, I think when people advertise in champs to get like 13 wins, I think that is relatively. I don't know if it's easier, but at least your matchmaking is consistent where you're going to progressively get, and people get the experience of playing against the same sort of competition on a week on week basis, so they know what they can expect. And suddenly in a friendlies mode, you're putting yourself out there to try and get 30 wins out of 36. That's a big ask. Hats off to the people that can actually procure this, but it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously that's one part of it. How do you feel then EA have done? Because I mean, to be fair to EA, we've been quite consistent, and we've said they have consistently given us a lot to do in the game. Like there has been all the way through, whether it's stuff that appeals to you or me or whoever is a different sort of different subject. But there's constantly things to be working towards, unless you kind of hit a Wednesday potentially, and you're a bit like, oh, I'm a bit stuck now. But how do you feel like EA are balancing this? Because obviously we've spoken a little bit about the dire pack weight, but the rewards in a lot of these modes are very good rewards. Even if you're not hitting, the 30 wins from Icon, sort of 15 wins plus in that mode, you're actually getting really good packs back as well. Same with the Fantasy Cup. Same with these flash rush events. They're still really decent rewards. Obviously, squad battles as well. You've got that into the picture where you still get your guaranteed promo pack. I think if you're gold 3 and above potentially. So, like, do you like this from EA, or do you think it's just kind of hitting that FOMO that pack weight's so bad, we've got to do everything we can to get these amazing packs, and even then it's still bad? Like, what's your feeling and your kind of thoughts on that?
I think you hit the nail on the head because I'm sure, like many of people listening, we all have those grassroots grind packs that are still lurking in our store that we haven't really opened yet. Everyone's got heaps of packs, and there's no point of opening those packs because, yeah, sure, there's a couple of player picks that you can dump all your fodder into, the non-rare goals, and there nothing is being. I think I've done since the player picks have come out. I probably had smashed at least maybe 50 player picks, and I still have a whole heap of things in our club. In those player picks, I don't think I've packed anything above 84 rated in the whatever. So essentially, all the stuff is there, and I've opened a whole heap of packs as well. From I think I did, like I said, I've completed the cup. Didn't get anything special in the cups. Yeah, sure, I could complete Kante, but I had stuff in my club already to complete Kante. So there's a lot going on. None of the cards, the pack weight's not really as high. Uh, I think I like to appreciate some of these modes. I really love having a friendlies mode. I really, really, really enjoy having a friendlies mode. I don't mind if the friendlies mode is requesting for 25 wins over the week, but with no play cap, because there are days when we can't get on console because of whatever reason you can't particularly play, but there are days I can play 10, 15 games. So I shouldn't really have like a cap as such. That's my preference. I hate having a cap. Having a mode that and also I don't like the fact that friendlies has skill based matchmaking, which the league and the cup join together as well. I don't really. It could be a thing, but I don't really like that we have such level of sweatiness in friendlies. The term itself says friendlies, and I like it to be friendlies. Take me back to the icon swap days when you could just go into icon swaps and just have a ball. Just go and just play and play and play and get all those things done. Do you remember the
Yeah,
Vieira grind in 2022?
absolutely. Those were the days. Like, and the good thing about that is that it wasn't capped, was it? So you could just go onto it, and then you could just kind of play a few, and then come back to it when you can. So I'm with you on that. Like, even if it's say you've still got to get a high target, so say 30 wins still for for no, I was going to say Saicedo then. My apologies. For Maicon, but have 30 wins, but you can play 20 games a day.
Yeah.
You're still kind of limiting it because certain people can't do 20 games a day. Certain people still maybe not able to get the 30 wins out of that. So you're still doing it, but you're making it that little bit more attainable. I mean, like we said earlier, the good thing, in my opinion, is that Maicon he's undoubtedly going to be a very good card, but I just don't think it's that game changing card. He's not the one that you're like. If he was on the market, if you're not market banned, Shaq like yourself, would you really like say 30 the 30 wins? Say that's £3 million, say, because 3 million coins. Sorry, not £3 million. 3 million coins. Would you pay 3 million coins for that card? No, I mean,
Not at all.
would you pay over 1 million for a fullback? Probably not. Like, let's be honest. Like, I was lucky enough. I got Danny Carvajal, and I think when he came out, he was maybe 1.6 to 1.8. Very good card. Like, absolutely brilliant to have in the club. I wouldn't pay that for him. I mean, even without being a dragon, a fullback for me, especially a defensive fullback, 500k potentially. Apart from that, and I think over that, I think you've got to have incredible play styles, and it's got to be unique. Otherwise, something we'll come on to in a minute. Again, Evos. There's so many Evos out there. There's decent alternatives. There's so many cheap beasts on the market. I just think that it's quite a lot for a decent option.
Absolutely, you hit the nail on the head there. And the one part that kind of also has ticked me off with regards to these cups in the league is you played the cup, right?
Yeah.
How was the squad formation? It was hard, but you had to really put some really low rated cards in there, and you were coming up against really low rated cards, and it was kind of fun because you saw a random defender that this is going to be an easy game. Switch over to the league, and suddenly everyone's got like a fake meta team, which is quite meta. They're all like got Saliba. Everyone's got a Saliba or a Varane. I saw one guy's front line was, I think it was the Ronaldo 90, the R9 Ronaldo 90, and the Dalglish 88. That
Saw
was his
that one
front
too.
two.
I saw that online. Yeah, absolutely. And it is crazy. And to be fair play to people kind of tinkering the team so they can do it. But then it's almost like you've got to play the mode to find out what's working. Because I started with my friendlies formation, which was 4-2. What is it? The 4-2-1-3. Which is I only ever use in friendlies because it's quite good for overwhelming your opponents and trying to get a rage quit. And I quickly found out people aren't rage quitting this because even if you're losing, you want that loss to kind of take you down to a slightly easier player next. So I then had to go back to my usual 4-2-3-1 wide, but then the players don't move the same as they do with my main team, and I'm still trying to do things that I'm trying to do with the main team. It's so hard to get that balance. That's the thing that I'm saying about the cap. Like, there's a lot of better players than me out there as well. There's probably a fair few worse than me as well. But in my head, it takes me so long to adapt and adjust and figure out what the right thing is and what sort of players that, if you try to put an 86 rated CDM, he's not going to play like a 91 rated Xabi Alonso or a 90 rated Kante or whoever you've got in there. So I find that difficult. And again, I know people out there will be saying skill issue, and it absolutely is, but it's also unnecessary pressure.
Absolutely.
But carry on before we kind of come to your approach to what you're doing with all this content, etc. The one thing I want to kind of say is we've seen obviously Evos that we've spoken about in the past. These Evos are coming out; they're getting more and more OP. They are crashing the market. But when you look at it, some of the chains for these Evos are stupidly good, like unreal. I mean, the gold Rafael currently is extinct. His chain looks crazy good. I'm very fortunate. I've got a gold one in the club, and I am tempted to kind of start chaining it. I think actually because he is so OP in the game, I think he could actually do a really good job. But it's also from a personal point of view, it's actually turning my interest off a little bit because I'm just a bit like there's so much. What's the point in putting this grind? Because at the start of the game we grinded. Both of us I think did Kobe Mainu and Diogo Dalot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barely couldn't really Evo them the way because a new Evo came out and it was better. Same with Marcus Rashford. I think I'm on my fourth Marcus Rashford and I've just given up with him now. Obviously, he's gone out on loan.
Who were you talking about? I've never heard of that guy. Never heard of that guy.
Although he did help put some past Chelsea, so I'll be happy with that. But from my point of view, I just think it's almost a bit too much. Like again, this comes into our feast or famine. Like I like Evos, but I get that people are finding ways to chain it. I just think that all these different chains are it's totally killing my enthusiasm for grinding an Evo when you know that actually you're going to do 6 chains, so you're probably talking 30, 40 games in total, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks time the same player can be used in a slightly different Evo chain, and actually that's going to be more meta, more OP. It's going to suit your game style better. Like, how do you feel about how EA are approaching Evos nowadays?
Exactly. Like I think when we were speaking last week, I just told you I bought a Theo and I Evo a Theo because I couldn't pack a Theo. Well, things have changed. I've actually packed a Theo this week, still in my club. But secondly, I Evoed the Theo one night before his special CDM version Evo came out. One night before it. So I just Evoed him. Next morning, the bloody other CDM version came out. And this is just one example. There's a whole heap of other examples where you have these cards and you think this is the perfect Evo chain kind of to get this particular card. Next day, another Evo comes and you just like, oh, maybe do I do this? Do I do this chain? And then it just becomes so complicated because you've got all these other exclusives as well. You know, the shooting boost and the friendly cup boost and these boosts that can add on to that. And it's a lot, and I'm finding that a lot for someone that's fairly competent with the game, knows what's going on. I'm finding it overwhelming. I really can't understand how the casuals are dealing with this level of information and this level of upgrades as well. And what annoys me as well is if you choose to put your card through a shooting evo, for example, then there's suddenly, if you do the wrong order, you suddenly can't do the other Evo that might make him a better player overall, like the Rafael Leo, for example. You do the order incorrectly, you're screwed. You can never go back in time. And that's really frustrating for me.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The other side of the coin for that is not even the time that it takes to do the Euros and the results it gives. You know, we obviously mention him a lot because our good friend Dan used to be a key part of the Tuesday Club. He went out and bought the latest
Oh, yeah.
version of Didier Drogba. I think he paid 1.7, 1.8 million for him. All these Evos are coming out. They're making all these players ridiculously good. I think that drop was down to 1 million or something. So he's wasted. Well, I say wasted. Obviously, he loves the card, but you're talking 700, 800 million, 800,000 coin drop plus tax. Like, for me, like, that's wild, and I think that's intentional. You know, we've said all the way through, EA are trying to stop people trading, stop people having lots of coins in the club. We've seen that from, the only way to get a decent fantasy card, it seems to be to go to the store and buy the 91 plus fantasy pack. Fair play, people do that. Great. I've only got 5 weeks left on the game. I've gone and opened both of them with decent. To be fair, I got decent rewards back for it. But I would never do that if I was intending to hang around the whole cycle seriously. I just think it's so much to consider. One wrong move and you're knackered, really.
Yeah, I think this is the a real example of why being a dragon, like yourself, is really useful because Dan is doing the right thing. He's actually trying his favorite player in the game. He just wanted to buy the card, and he said as soon as he bought the card, I don't really care. I just want to enjoy him, and that's the way you should be playing the game. But it still hurts. It's still annoying. It's still frustrating that a card that you bought in a week's time loses 700k, and you haven't done there's no real reason for that card to lose 700k, but that's just gone just because you forgot to, well, you just because you didn't sell it as soon as you bought it. And that's the sort of things that really, I think the state of the market, which you spoke last week, that sort of annoys me as well with all these Evos coming up with Maradona and Zidane. They just crash cards that, and it doesn't incentivize people to go out and try new cards from the market. There's really no point of buying anything from the market. But then again, it has an impact on trading because there's really no point of trading.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while we're on the market talk, does this sort of this action from EA, does this make you, with your market head on, think actually player flipping's maybe not the best? Do we anticipate, keep a stack of these meta cards, like meta gold cards? Because, like you say, you saw Raphael go extinct. I don't know what his top one, but a couple of weeks ago, you probably picked him up a lot less than his full value. Do you think that maybe in FC26 you're going to start thinking, right? So you got the likes of Liao, maybe Dembele, these kind of good cards that get overtaken quite regularly by promo cards and new versions. Is that the way to go then? Do we start thinking there's definitely going to be an Evo, so I'm just going to buy 5 of these cards and just store them for now, and then I could make an easy 100k even.
I think it's been happening even this year. For example, at the start of the year, if you remember the Yamal card, the Team of the Week Yamal card that came out, I think in week 2 or week 3, that card went extinct multiple times during the year. The Rodrigo cards, the Informs, went extinct multiple times. The Rafinha card, I think went up 120k, 130k since this league came out because he's probably a really good 86 rated Inform, and he fits the requirements for the League Cup. So it's been working this year, but it's really hard because timing them is really complicated because you don't necessarily know. Probably at a time, for example, a Thunderstruck, or when there's a huge supply of all these cards, instead of buying discard informs, you could probably spend a little bit more money and buy these meta cards and just store them in the club. But my trouble again is sometimes at the rate that we do these SPCs, you just chuck in an inform. My worries will chuck in one of these informs because I kid you not, during Team of the Year, I had a Rafinha, a Rodrigo inform, all these informs that are like 2, 3, 400k now. I just chucked them into the 8220 because I couldn't be bothered.
Oh, I feel you. I absolutely feel you. And obviously, I got stung a little bit by selling these cards at full value when one of the Evils came out, and I think that's what knackered my account. So that's something to be wary of. Don't get me wrong, but it just kind of makes me think. That's probably the way that trading's going to go, is to preempt certain cards that are going to be perfect fits for these Evils, because that's the only thing that seems to be really almost reliable at the moment. You're certain that the Rashfords, especially early game Rashford Evos, are coming, like the Leao Evos come in. There's probably a few CDMs that would be pretty, like Camavinga was really high early doors as well. So that's something. So now we've discussed obviously all the content, and absolutely we'll have missed stuff because there's so much to go through. But what's your approach now then, Shaq? Talk us through, say, you finish your champs, okay. What's next? How do you think that, the clever way to look at getting things done is kind of going forward? And obviously, say this the cup resets because it expires tonight. Maybe we get a new cup to like at 6 o'clock tonight into tomorrow. How are you going to approach like the rest of fantasy content?
I think I'm just going to go into the league and try and complete the league. And one of the things I really want to point out, I'm sure people have figured this out, but I wouldn't risk it. If you have any games left, I would just play all the 12 games before the refresh, just in case, because we don't necessarily know if the 12 that we get added on to what the games that we have remaining, or whether it's a complete reset. So for anyone that is wondering whether to hold on and just play all the 36 in one, just get the 12 out of the way and then worry about the next 12. If there's carryover, which we'll see on socials, then you can carry over the next week. You can carry over, but this right now, just play your 12. So I'm just going to play my 12 games. I mean, I'll have 9 games left, I think. Just going to play them, finish that out. I'll finish my rivals, and I'm not playing Rush. I'm done with Rush. If without friends, all my friends deserted me. My brother stopped playing the game. One of my close mates stopped playing the game as well. I think they just got overwhelmed. There was so much stuff happening. They just thought, this is too complicated for us, and they just dropped off. So I'm actively recruiting for people in the ANZ region. Anyone that is interested in playing Rush, hit me up.
No, that's wise. I mean, when you look at it, I think, I know people play to 5 wins or whatever in Rivals. I still think Rivals are worth it, even for the potential guaranteed packs. I still think you get at least fodder back from a lot of these packs. So I think today and tomorrow I'll finish that off. I'll finish the cup off. I think I didn't actually realize all the different requirements in the cup. So I did quite a few, and then I realized, you've got to have 3 La Liga players playing, and then you've got to have 3 Ligue 1 players. So I've done all the objectives, but I think I've got 1 win with the 3 Ligue 1 players. So I just need to finish them off. So I'm hoping I can back them out in an hour or so. I'll probably do my rivals tomorrow because I'm hoping Wednesdays will be probably the easiest day to do them. And then I think just because Rush expires tonight, I'll try and I doubt I'll get the 60k points or whatever, but I'll try and get most of those objectives done. So I've got a few extra packs, and I've done quite a lot of the casino SBCs lately. I've done Kante, I've done another icon pick, I always do the campaign pick. So my SBC dupe storage is usually at sort of 90 plus. I think I'm down to 54 just now. So that's my the dragon in me. I can't really hold on to the coin. So my dupe storage is my dragon side of me, and that's starting to get a little bit of the shakes and withdrawals from having that stocked up. So I think, to be fair, I think even if you don't think you're going to get like the cup, some of the rewards even lower down are quite worth it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I would just kind of say to folk out there, look at the objectives and the rewards, pick what your club needs most. If you really want to do some of these really cool evos, if you've not been sort of disenchanted with them, have a look what the requirements are that gives you the best sort of evos to like the special cards to put into the evos. I think that's probably the best way to do it. And like I say, I'm still a big believer that Rivals rewards, although you might not see shinies for them, Div 2, you still get, I think it's 80 plus times 40 and such. It's going to stock up your club. It means you can do more of these packs. I don't think I've got a gold rare under sort of 78, 79, but I've got hundreds of commons. So even things like that, I just think padding out your club's still quite important, because EA are giving so many, decent packs back. They're bound to give us a grindable SBC soon. I said last week I thought something was coming, and I still do. Maybe I'm 6 months too early or something for it.
I think we should get something. I really think we will get some grindable SPC soon enough. I think tonight we might get like an 83-14 or hopefully an 84-5 or 85-10 would be great.
Yeah, the 85-10 has been rumoured. I mean, I've done quite a lot of the 85 doubles. I don't know why, because you're putting 283 squads in, and 9 times out of 10 you're getting an 85 and 86 back. But
that's it.
Yep.
It's
It's like playing a lottery, isn't it? We always say you've got to be in it to win it. So that kind of fills that void. But before we wrap up, Shaq, because we have been going kind of 40 minutes or so just now, are we thinking that formation and review is worth it, or are we still sticking with our usual grind?
I think we have the usual formations right now. The only thing is, I've seen a lot of people try and use the 95 depth on most of the formations, especially the 4-2-1-3. Yeah, it's pretty effective, but it's boring as bad crap. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So if we'll skip over player and review, formation and review, but I've just given away the spoilers there, everybody. We'll hand over to our good friend Dan Wimbush.
Player in review.
Shaq, I know you've got a player that you are wanting to talk about, and sort of spoiler alert, you're welcome.
I was just going to give you a shout out to say it was you that recommended Kante. And I think I did Champs because I did Kante. I was like, you know what? I've got a new card. Let me just try him in Champs. And yeah, he is a lot of fun. He reminds me of, for some reason, I fell out of favor with Kante. I just wasn't enjoying him as much I think in the last game cycle, but he's fun to use. He's like a little rabbit that just goes everywhere. He just gets everything. He gets to every ball. He intercepts everything. I think having the Anticipate Plus really is interesting on that card. The Press Proven is good because you expect Kante to have the Press Proven from yesteryear. That's the kind of player to have Press Proven. But I think last year Press Proven had a bit more to it than this year. But still, hey, he can pass. I think one of the first questions I asked you was what his passing. His passing is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's exceptional, but he's got pink pass. He's got incisive pass on silver. I think he's got 90 shot passing as well. Pretty decent. Doesn't give the ball away too much. Gets the ball back. Does everything for you. I think it's a must-do SPC. If you have the coins, and let's just say these words, he could be fit for an Evo soon.
Those evos. No, I'm glad you're enjoying him. I did, I put my reputation on the line there, saying actually I know he is good. You replaced Vieira for me. Vieira comes off the bench, and sometimes it's nice to have that bigger body type, but Kante is Kante. My player in review is one I packed last night. I've only used for a couple of games, and he's Kante's CDM partner for me. I packed Moises Caicedo last night, who I'm playing as a deep line playmaker. He's very Kante-esque. He's got that sort of smaller stature. He's got decent pace up at. I've put 90 on him. I've put an engine on him because that puts his short and long passings up to 99, which is tremendous for starting those attacks. He's got press proven and intercept. His dribbling's very, very good. His defending's fantastic, especially as a deep line playmaker. I don't feel like you need to max him out because I've got Kante next to him as well. So it's quite a solid wall there. Finishing's a bit lower down at 75, but again, playing at the base, one of my CDMs in 4-2-3-1. I don't need a finisher. I need somebody that you can rely on to start attacks. He's got press proven and intercepts, but his Silva's a ping pass and tiki taka, and relentless as well. So I think it's a really nice mix. Jury's still out whether he's better than Xavi Alonso in that position, because Xavi Alonso with the his passing play styles is tremendous, but I just feel like his kind of buzzing around the pitch is a little bit better as well. Obviously, having his all his stats combined, I think gives a really nice card. He's 420k just now, so again, I wouldn't go out and buy that, but at the same time, if you do get him, he's well worth it.
You wouldn't go out and buy him if you had 500 million coins sitting in your club.
No, I wouldn't. But then I had my eye on him before I packed him. He was one of those that I said just as I was opening it, I really want a Caicedo because I like the Kante cards. I do like the small cards. Bigger, because crossing and long balls like that aren't overly OP just now. I don't feel like you need to have the, yesteryear we always had Vieira and Hullet as your CDMs. They're very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not slating them at all, but I don't feel like it's as imperative to have these monsters sitting there. I think the way that the game it sets itself up for passing, like I'm not saying one touch tiki taka passing. If you can do that, that's great, but it just sets yourself up for those sort of driven passes and passes into space. I think that's the way the game kind of goes, and nippier players seem to be a lot more effective at the moment, I think. So again, that's just my take, but I think he's controlled explosive as well, so that helps. So that's my player in review. Obviously, we've covered quite a lot today, Shaq. Is there anything else that you want to highlight or add in?
Absolutely nothing. I think we've gone through the whole gamut of EAFC for the past week.
There has been, and fair play to EA. We say it every week, but the mistakes seem to be getting shorter, or less and less as well, which is, it's quite refreshing. From being part of a podcast, it's probably slightly more disappointing because it cuts down on the time that we've got something laid out for us to discuss. But I'm happy that the game seems to be there. Oh, one thing I do want to put on, I hate to say I told you also, but EA have released a statement saying they've heard lots of talk about shadow patches and tweaks in game, and they've come out and said that has absolutely not happened. We've said that on the pod that we would be very surprised. We don't think that's happened. It's just that the cards we use are developed and the players using these cards have developed. EA have come out and said that's right. I don't think they would have come out and said that if it wasn't true. They would have just ignored it at least or confirmed it. So I think that's, for those of you saying it's definitely shadow patch, look at my player not doing this and not doing that. I'm sorry, guys, but we were right. Listen to Foot and Review because we know everything, obviously.
The only counter I have to that is it's almost alike to Britain calling itself Great Britain, and it's like you would never go to a doctor that says real doctor outside the door. It's like EA going out and saying we haven't shadow patched it. Why would you say something if it wasn't true?
Oh, I think that's just because there's been a lot of momentum gathering. There's been some very key streamers saying that, but no, knowing EA, they like to ignore things, don't they? Let's be honest. If something's happened and they don't want us to know it's happened, they just wouldn't say anything. So I think that's the key here. I think the fact they've come out and quashed it means that it hasn't happened. Legally, I don't know how it works, but I don't think they'd really be allowed to come out and say, no, we haven't done something when they have. I think there's got to be some sort of thing saying that they've got to at least, if they're acknowledging anything, they've got to acknowledge it, or they just stay silent and let people kind of make their own minds up.
I agree. I think I completely agree with that aspect. The only one thing that we haven't really spoken about is the fact that EA has done the matchmaking things where they came out and said, we're changing something, but yeah.
And yes, no, good point, because I know you said yours has actually changed for the better. I've seen a lot of people, myself and Dan included, have had horrific matchmaking. We're either getting matched with demons or the gameplay's gone horrific, like in terms of delays and like I'm getting stutters in times and speed ups. But I know, Shaq, like you said, I think you've had the opposite end of the scale.
I just feel heard. This has been what you and Dan are experiencing in our group chat is stuff that I've been yelling for the past weeks, and suddenly my gameplay is pretty normal. I'm like, oh yeah. Look, it's ebbs and flows. I hope they can fix yours and keep mine the same, but we'll find out.
Absolutely. The caveat to that is I think they said it was only out for 48 hours. So by the time people listen to this, I think the experiment will be done for now anyway. So let's hope, it's rare that I've had to say anything about gameplay for for being a PC player. So let's hope that they've kind of got what they've needed from it, and they can make things better for everyone across the board.
Agreed.
Shaq, with that being said, I think it's time to wrap this up. So I believe there is only one thing left for us to do.
Drop it.
We are going to drop it.
Drop it.
F-U. F-U. F-F-F-U. F-U-T. T. Interview. F-U.